Hi, I'm Baldev Bhinder, Managing Director of Blackstone Gold. The most common types of invoice financing fraud would be, I would say, three different categories. One case would be where you've got a fake invoice. That could be a case where two parties are colluding to generate a fake invoice, or you've got an impersonation attempt of a famous or well-known party. The second would be what I call duplicate invoicing, in the sense that one trade has got 200 different invoices for the same trade. The third would be the classic over-invoicing, under-invoicing, so to enable the transfer of money, to avoid tax, to inflate the value of goods and so on. Typically, the party that's orchestrating the trade fraud would be perhaps a trader. Now, a trader might have a need for liquidity, and so they might put together 4 or 5 different companies, giving the appearance of arm's length trades, but they're not trades. They're just bogus trades being put together. And this is done predominantly for the purposes of getting liquidity, but it could be done. I mean, the question that you have to think about really is the scale on which this is done. A bilateral trade is just one party. If I put a string together, there could be 10 parties in between. If I do it in a circle, I could do it 100 times again and again and again. And so that gives you a sense of the scale of the liquidity being accessed each time one invoice is being used to give the appearance of a trade. A circular trading scheme, that's a tricky question. I think that you might get different answers from different people. It's when you're buying and selling goods at the same time. So you're buying goods and then you're buying it back from somebody else, goods that you own in the first place. So commercially, when one looks at it, the question would naturally be, why are you buying and selling the same goods? There are legitimate uses for it. People often suspect that a circular trade by itself is fraudulent. That doesn't necessarily make it fraudulent in and of itself. The reason why we often see fraudulent trades involving circles is because when you're doing it in a circle, you get to perpetrate the fraud with no one being able to find out the fiction that you've created. So for example, if there's a trade going from Chile for copper into China, where you've got a buyer of copper, if I want to insert myself into the trade, I can then put myself and 4 or 5 different companies into it in a circle and keep trading between each other 1 to 100 times again and again and again. And no one knows that the goods actually had nothing to do with me. It's gone from the Chilean miner to the Chinese buyer. Many different things to look out for, I think. One of it would be the trading contract. When you look at the trading contract, there are certain standard terms that you expect from a physical trade of commodities, and sometimes they're not quite there because parties don't really care about the physical goods. The other aspect would be the typical shipping documents that you have with a trade. You've got original bills of lading, you've got certificate of origin. You'd expect to see these documents, and you expect to see the source documents from where they're derived from. Certificate of origin would be a good document to talk about, because that's something that's typically issued by an official chamber of commerce or something, and it's not something that anyone can just issue. So I think that has to be pretty much an official document or a third-party document.